Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hardcore Metal Touching Radio Show, and happy 4th of July, Independence Day. Got Craig Talley on the line here, and I'm Derek Asklar, hosting the show tonight. Just kind of open lines there. If one of y'all want to call in with a topic you want to talk about, or story of your last hunt, what have you, you can call in at 352-504-4170, or catch us on Skype right there, just Derek.Asklar1. And you can, get us through contact through Skype right there. And I think I can answer those. We haven't had anybody do that yet, but we'll try to. I see Bill Marsh is already on there. Decided to stay home tonight. Not looking forward to to the line leaving. Oh, the line leaving the fireworks. Yeah, no doubt about it. Craig, if you hear a bunch of loud booms, it's not my house exploding. We got some guys with carbide cannons or something around here. Every year it'd be a little bit later, but they'll start setting them things off, and it's like a civil war out here. They start banging away. But, yeah, we have fun blowing up stuff out here. So right now they have the little stuff. You may hear some of it, but, yeah, they get those. I don't know if they're acetylene cannons or, carbide. The powder carbide. I don't know if you remember those when you were a kid or not, Craig. I actually have two of them. You put, it's called Bang Sight. It's a powder. What it does essentially is when it hits water, it turns it into acetylene gas. And then you have it's actually a small cannon, probably about, I don't know, a foot long. And a tube on it's only about the size of a quarter, maybe a little bit bigger. And you put water in this cannon, like 2 or 3 ounces, and when you have this little cylinder on the top that has the bang sight in it, you hit that button and it throws it into the water, and then you have a sparker, just like a regular flint sparker for it, and you tap down on that, throws a spark to it, and then it ignites, and it's about like a 20 gauge going off. My dad had it when he was a kid. He used to shoot at the neighbor's chicken coop all the time with it and load crab apples in the barrel of it. Shoot, stupid chickens wouldn't have eggs for a week, but crazy things. But yeah, I have both of those, and I haven't played with them yet today. I should have got them out and done something with them. But it's kind of, when you're, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 years old, they're pretty fun. They're pretty fun when you're adults. You get to blow stuff up too, so. But I actually found a small cannon. I mean, this thing was small. I don't even know if I still have a picture of it, Craig. It was about maybe, I don't know, as long as your index finger. But it actually had a fuse. It was about as big around, maybe about like a Sharpie pencil. And it actually had a fuse line in it, and where you put the fuse in there, and it looked like you can actually fire stuff out of it. And it's probably from, oh God, early 1900s anyways. I looked them up at one time, but they're a toy cannon, but it would actually fire black powder or something like that. I found one of those metal detecting by accident because it's actually iron, but or cast or something. I don't know what it was made out of, but that was one of the neater finds. One of the, I guess, bucket list items I didn't even know I had. What have you been up to today, brother? You doing any blowing up anything or making I don't know, bottle rockets or something?
No, we always have a parade on the 4th, and so I don't know, about 15 minutes before they were going to start about 4:30. So I hear people out front, and I look out, people are putting up chairs all up and down the street and everything, and so I get right about that time. I get this ping on my phone, and I go, it's a weather report. So I look, and so I put on the map, and there's this big, huge storm coming, and it's coming fast, up the valley. So I said, oh my God. So I go outside, and about 5 minutes before the parade starts, just opens up, and there was I don't know if it was like maybe hail way up and it melted as it was coming down, but there was the biggest drops of rain at first I've ever seen.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
when it hit, it was like the size of a baseball, and it flattened out. I was like, whoa! It was like crazy. It was like it did that for about 3 minutes, and then it just opened up. And
I guess it could have been like, wait, I don't know. every once in a while I'd see that out west. I'd never seen it on the East Coast like that. You know.
Yeah, I'd never seen drops that big before ever. I mean, that was weird. But anyway, I went in the house, and so I don't know, maybe I guess almost about 45 minutes later, I suddenly realized it's starting to get light a little bit out, and so I look out, and people are starting to set up again. So right about an hour after the storm started, you know, the parade, you know, and they got through, and then probably about a half an hour after that, we had another big storm come through for about 5 minutes. But, you know, so they had all kinds of. It wasn't as big. I think some of the people might have gone home or something, you know. But sometimes the parade lasts, you know, maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Today was maybe 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, Bill was.
Oh,
go ahead.
They have like a lot of politicians are in their cars. They had a couple of Washington Redskins with the mayor in the lead car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's a big Redskin fan. There's a whole bunch of people in town that tailgate down to the game.
Yeah,
every week.
And there's a ton of stuff going on down here, I guess. You know, I was over at the Post today. We didn't do too much because of the other, like the Legion, American Legion, and a lot of the other VFWs around were doing stuff, you know, for, you know, hamburgers and hot dogs, this and that and the other thing. So we kind of just laid back a little bit on that because people are traveling around a little bit, but it wasn't a real busy day for us. But, you know, like in Orlando, Tampa, you can imagine, you know, just, you know, the big towns have stuff going on, fireworks shows. Just be careful if you're out there, wherever you're at, because it gets, that's why Bill didn't go out. He didn't want to get that leaving traffic, you know, everybody leaving the fireworks show or whatever else, you know, it gets kind of, it can be stupid once in a while. You guys know what I'm talking about, so just be careful. But, yeah, I was laughing at Bill. He was putting up there with the real name of the stuff I was talking about instead of, you know, the carbide cannon stuff. And he goes, I better take that off of there. I said, yeah, probably a good idea. Somebody will read it and go, oh, I know how to make this now. That's funny how that goes, Craig. You got to be careful whatever you post up anymore about, you know, anything like that. We had a couple incidences where they were, I don't know, blowing up mailboxes or something down in South Florida. This is a couple of years ago, and I knew exactly what they were doing because I know the mixture, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they're blowing up mailboxes with it. And I was going to say something. I thought, I better not. They might think it's me since I know what's going on. So sometimes it's good to keep your mouth shut, right?
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah, people. I you know, when we were kids, well, I was probably about, I don't know, 14, 15, and learned how to make gunpowder and all that stuff. And, you know, just legitimate. Never did any harm or nothing. So I made fireworks is what I made. Oh, one time I made something bigger, and I didn't do that again because I blew out some windows in the house. So out in the yard, way out in the yard. But, yeah, you learn how to do this stuff over the years. Just be responsible about it. Don't take any fingers off or blow somebody up. We make our own bottle rockets, all that. You know, kind of like what you buy, you know, the mortars and stuff like that. And you learned how to make those, and, you know, some of them worked, some of them didn't. But, you know, we didn't have a lot of money, so we had to do what we had to do, right? Make our own.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was actually, you could actually make stronger bombs and stuff, you know, when we were kids because we make our own stuff.
Yeah.
My dad was, you know, showed me how to, you know, we used to use carbide,
yeah,
and mix water with it.
Yep.
And it forms acetylene gas, and
yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. But it's not the kind you think. There's another word in there, but we're not going to use it.
Yeah. But we used to blow stuff up with that. And, what else? We used to make. We took aluminum oxide and potassium perchloride, and I mean, we made like this stuff was so powerful it would blow a hole in the ground.
Oh my God! No, don't say that on the radio, Craig. Oh goodness! Just say we had fun making stuff. It was a science project.
Yeah.
Only right. Only steel 55-gallon drums were heard in this making of this stuff. So So we threw it in there to blow the 55-gallon drum up in the air. We thought it was cool. Got it. The stuff we used to do, like we did a show about that before. The crazy stuff we did, riding our bicycles without helmets on and elbow pads and all that, and actually going to a park and swinging on a swing, and they take all this stuff away now and put kids in pads and everything else, and always what we said was, if you did something and you got hurt, just don't do that way anymore, But at any rate, yeah, it's a different world now. I see stuff that some of these kids get in trouble for. I'm like, oh my God, we used to do that all the time, but it wasn't like against the rules or nothing. But now everything is. It's like, oh, don't look at somebody sideways, But yeah, I was telling Craig before the show. I said, I think the one thing that's missing in our realm is accountability. Really, there's some, not everybody, but there's those that, man, I tell you what, they can do something to somebody or some of their actions. They never accept responsibility. It's always somebody else's fault type thing. And it's become more and more of a problem, it seems like, that just, no accountability. I don't know, Craig, I know you, and you're the first one to blame yourself, and so am I. And Bill's that way. A lot of us are, it's like, oh, hey, I screwed up, sue me, or whatever. But I dealt with this one guy today, and he drove me crazy. It's like, man, you can't accept responsibility for anything you're saying online, can you? It's one of those crazy ones, but yeah, he'll get over it. Oh, shoot. But I did get out detecting the other day, Craig, over to that Tollbridge property, and I ended up finally finding a penny. I never thought I'd be happy to find a wheat penny in my life, but I found one over there, 1927. And then I found a buckle just before. It's like for suspenders or something. It's silver plated, actually. And I found it about 10 feet away. So I'm guessing I found and I wanted to say it was a trash dump or something, Craig, but it's on the side of a hill. But the hill, there's nothing up above it now anyways, other than some flat land. And of course it was at about 4.5, 5 hours into my hunt. So I was pretty well whooped because it was like 90 some degrees out. So I didn't get really to do much more investigating. I found a tractor part, and I found some wood burning stove plate. I think the bottom plate of a wood burning stove or kitchen stove, I don't know, in the ground. I knew it was iron, but it was just so big I had to dig it. But it's on, kind of picture being on a low road or a stagecoach road. It was up the hill. It didn't make any sense why it wasn't down from the road, down the other way. I'm not sure what I'm dealing with there, but the one thing that I thought about today, I've hunted a lot around the country a little bit, so it didn't even really register in my brain that there's actually a hickory tree there, Craig. I was finding hickory nut parts or whatever. Didn't even think about it. I said, what is walnuts doing out? I mean, that doesn't grow around here. And Paul brought one home. Pauline goes, no, that's a damn hickory tree nut. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not normal for around here, is it? She goes, I've never heard of one being around here that hasn't been planted. But this hickory tree is pretty good size. I'm going to get some pictures of it next time I go out there because I want to hit it again. But I finally found something that doesn't belong on that property, really. The other thing was I found a palm tree. It's not, we do have palm trees down here in Florida, of course, but they're not really regularly in the woods. I say 90% of the time, at least in my area, they've been planted by somebody at some time. And this one's about, 17 foot tall. I mean, it's been there for a while. I can't imagine anybody, in the last 20 years planting it anyways. The landowner said it's always been there since he had the property. He's had the property for almost 30 years, so I know it dates back before that. So I am finding stuff now. I just never thought I'd be happy about a penny. But it's the only doggone coin I found through there. I was like, geez, I know it's got to be here. I've been finding tons of bullets and shotgun shells, but really a few odd pieces of chain, like from a stagecoach or something use for horse-drawn carriage. A small, the links are almost wore out. That's the only reason I know that was probably for a harness of some kind, because right where like you pull a chain, taut, those spots right there just like almost worn all the way through. And I found another section of it, two pieces, two links again, about 30 yards from where I found the other one a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I'm definitely getting into something now. But man, I tell you what, I've never battled so hard to find something in my life. I don't think it's making it a challenge. That's for certain. That's for certain there. But I want to get back out there maybe on Saturday morning, and hit that spot and just go work my way right up that small hill. And I didn't see anything. I kind of walked up there. I didn't detect it. I kind of walked up there and looked around, and it kind of goes a little bit level, and then it drops down again into a field, the field that they'd plowed up and stuff. Out there, all I'm finding is bullets and shotgun shells, casings, and some other brass too. A couple of them look kind of older. And it's almost like a one-ringer, Craig. I don't know if they're... And they have lead. You can see the lead on the backside of the bullet. It's kind of indentated like a... And you can see it's real white. It's like it's real old. I mean, that's what it looks like to me, the patina on it. But I can't...
It's lead filled almost.
Something like that. It's not copper jacketed at all. I mean, it doesn't show any real rifling on it. A little bit, but... Yeah. I mean, I almost want to say...
That's probably late 1800s, but it doesn't sound like Civil War.
No, I don't think it's Civil War, but it definitely is older. And I put some of them up online. I don't know how well the picture is or something on our Facebook page. I need to take some more photos of what I already got. I didn't put the 1927 Wheatie or anything on there, but I'm finding this stuff at like 5, 6, 7 inches down. It's not really that bad digging. Of course, we're down here in Florida. I got around that hickory tree. I still can't believe there's a hickory tree there, and I didn't know. I was looking at the leaves, Craig, and I'm like, well, it's not a maple. What the heck is this? Because it doesn't have a normal water oak leaf, and that's what's mostly around there. And even the water oaks in this particular area, it would take 2 or 3 men to fit their arms around the tree. So they're pretty stout trees. It's just so far away from where the house is by the bridge. It's probably about 50, 60, 70 acres from it. And that's why I was thinking, it can't be a trash dump from there. Why would they go all the way that far to dump trash off and throw it up the hill? It'd be smarter to come, throw it down the hill or whatever. But the river could have come up that far too. I could see the, oh my gosh, the trees, what are they called? Cypress trees. The cypress stumps and stuff like that grow out of the ground, and it's maybe 20 yards from the Stagecoach Road. So then the river is probably about another 50 yards in there, because it's a wide spot for the as far as the river goes, or a narrow spot, but it's all wetland. You can tell that much. So I mean, it could have been the shore, really, where the Stagecoach Road is now, because the river used to be 12 foot higher than it is. They put they drained that off years ago. They drained, made all these Jumper Creek and all this stuff to drain the land so that you could build on it. Back in the 30s and 40s. And I don't know if the river may have reached that point. I guess I never even thought about that scenario either. So I did find out some more information about the property, that there was actually a blacksmith somewhere along the river, right in that general area, that used to make some really Pauline's grandmother would often talk about him. When she was a little girl, they would make fancy wrought iron twisted metal or something like that for staircases. He'd make all this stuff and travel to Temme, Florida, which is north of Bushnell and south of Lake Pan. And it's all there is a sign now in a cemetery. That's all that's left of that. It's like a ghost town, whatever. There's nothing really left there. But he'd travel there once a month. It was like we'll say a 15, 16 mile drive or wagon ride over there and sell his wares or whatever. And if they wanted something specific for, like, he would deliver like branding irons, all this kind of weird stuff to the cattlemen in that area. And if they wanted anything special made or whatever, they'd have to go to his blacksmith shop. So I've been looking around pretty hard for any kind of old iron. And this place is just, I have my discrimination all the way down, Craig, trying to find something. And I've been, digging nails. I've been, not finding any square nails, which kind of surprised me a little bit. But I am finding older nails, like probably I would say it was around. I got an area that's around 1920, maybe a little bit earlier. So now I'm kind of questioning where the heck is the earlier than that, because this date that we could date this property to 1820, and it went on before that also, because her great whatever grandfather, 5 greats or 6 greats back, he had that property prior to her grandmother moving, marrying him and all that stuff. So very well could be late 1700s. It could date back that far. So yeah, I'm just kind of scratching my head, and have been for a while now, why I'm not finding more right through there, since it was the only way to get across the river, probably for 10 to 15 miles either way, up north or south. And it can, we're right here at a county line. We're actually tri-county area, Citrus County, Hernando County, and Sumter County. So it's like right in that spot right there where people would come through. And actually figured out that it actually connected, that stagecoach road actually connected to Old Bushnell Road, which actually is not there anymore. Well, there's parts of it that are still there, but property had been bought up, and they essentially it's not listed anymore. But I know where parts of it are, so it's just, I'm finding more and more history on it than I already had. So I'm just trying to find where they drop stuff at. Dang it. It doesn't have to be a coin. It could be a button. It could be whatever. I just want to date this thing really, really bad, just to show the landowner that, he did have stuff going on here. He's really into it too. I found those bridge parts, the bridge bolts and stuff like that they used to put the steel bridge in, and he was really happy about that. He goes, man, I knew there would be stuff down by that river from that bridge. I said, yeah, they probably just tossed it. And he said, you might have the steel girders down in the water. You never know until you get some diver to go down there and look for it, but because it is pretty deep right through there. But I can't find the flat rocks that they talked about. Pauline was telling me that they used to wash their clothing right there by the river. They had flat rocks that they'd wash them on, and I found it may be filled in too, Craig. I don't know how much erosion. You're dealing with so many factors on a 200+ year property. That hasn't really had a lot of development in it. I know that they moved dirt in to make a boat ramp, but it's to the right of where they used to wash clothes at, where I think they do. It's a big cutout right there where they used to do that. But to get in there and deal with the gators and everything, because it's flooded, and the snapping turtles and everything else that hang out in there, because it's a nice little cove, I got to wait until probably December, January, so when they're not so active, because we're right slap dab in the middle of gator season right now, so I'm not really messing with that river too much. Swim at your own risk. Yeah, we lost one kid last year because of that. He jumped in at the bridge there by the restaurant and didn't make it, but they're still out there. They go out there every weekend to see kids out there swimming, or adults too. I don't know if they'd do it if they knew there was a 14-foot gator out there, because there is one right there by where the restaurant is. He hangs out and goes trolling by, so hopefully they'll be okay. They were out there in force until the storms hit today. But I got all kinds of stuff going on, it seems like, which is a good thing. I got actually found another microphone, Craig. I think I can adapt the Rode microphone that I have from my GoPro. And I think I've developed a way to be able to incorporate that into our show instead of using this Blue Snowball. It's a better quality condenser mic, or a shotgun mic. I can't remember what they call it. There's all these different names, and I don't know what they mean, but essentially it's directional, so I'm not picking up from around the room. It'll eliminate some of the echo that you guys hear and stuff. I've tried to work with this a little bit more. Like Craig said, don't fix it until you break it. So I've been trying to lay off of it until I get this one part in to match up this other microphone. But I think it does pretty good. I was listening to the one show that we did on Monday night, or Monday morning. We do a coffee with Derek and Craig, about Monday. Well, it was supposed to be Wednesday and Friday, but we didn't get to it on Wednesday. But it sounded pretty good, I thought, Craig. I think you listened to it too. Voice-wise, so we're working on it. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm just not a high tech when it comes to audio editing and stuff like that. That's not my strong point. I can do video editing, but audio's a different ball game for me. So, and trying to get the the levels right and everything. But I think it does pretty good, anyways, for what we use it for. But
yeah, I mean, we're not. It's not like we're doing music or anything, that
right,
really
right.
makes a big difference, But you want it to sound good, but I don't think going all out is, I think it's all coming over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I don't know. It's incremental. How much better each thing gets, and it costs a lot more money each time you try to raise the level a little bit too. But I was listening to a few of the shows because we had one guy complaining about the volume between me and you, and I think it was when you muted or something, but it was a while back. But I thought the sound was pretty good, and I was listening to some of the commercials, and they weren't all that bad.
Right.
And I think I was telling Derek the other day, I've been reading about, kind of researching podcasting, and they have there's longer ads with podcasting. 90 seconds is probably the longest one.
Mm-hmm.
But even 30 seconds is fairly long one. Most other things, have like a 15-second one or a 4-second one, like with YouTube. But it seems to be that people that listen to podcasts don't care about listening to a little longer commercial.
I don't mind it as long as it has, like they have a Home Depot one on ours. I don't know if they just pick and choose what they put on there. I haven't figured out how to change that, but the only thing that kind of concerned me is when I listen, they put one in the beginning of the show, and then I play the intro music to let everybody link up. But there was a space in between the commercial or whatever, and when I started the show up. It seemed like forever, but in radio, 5 seconds seems like 5 hours. So, there's definitely a gap there. But that's the only thing I noticed that was really, a problem. I mean, they play these commercials and stuff. They've all been pretty good commercials. I don't think we've had very many stupid ones, but which is good. I'm glad they're being a little bit more selective. But you were telling me, Craig. Good.
Well, they sounded fairly professional, and it wasn't, it was kind of like what you'd see on like cable TV or something.
Right.
I mean, except for it didn't have the video, but.
Well, when you're used to listen. What I hate is when you listen to the regular radio. It seems like it goes on for 5 minutes. There are commercials. Then you get like one or two songs, then it's right back to commercials or something about the radio station or whatever. That's the last time I.
Yeah, but that was FM. And,
that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I like about podcasts.
They have to pay a bunch of money for the broadcasting rights and all that stuff. And it's quite different. It's not like podcasting. You can have if a billion people wanted to have a podcast, they can do it.
Oh yeah.
There's millions now. I think at least 1 million, something like that. Might even be more than that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of them. A lot of them.
Yeah, I looked at another statistic that was interesting, that 85% of the people that listen to the podcast listen to the end, and this is like unheard of on most mediums. That people, they get people's attention all the way to the end like this. A lot of videos like on YouTube are like maybe 45%. Which kind of surprised me. I thought maybe it would be longer than that, but
like when I'm listening to Relics Radio or something like that, I can't help but listen to the whole thing. I mean, I got to make sure if I'm driving somewhere, I'm pausing it. I get out and take care of whatever I got to take. I'll get back in the truck and go, turn it back on. Or if I'm listening to one of our shows, I did that a couple times to see how they were turning out. Heck, I forget about what we talked about most of the time. My short-term memory sucks, and we'll bring up a topic, and that's why I kind of repeat myself once in a while, Craig. I can't help it. I just can't remember what I talked about last time most of the time. It's just I I got my brain scrambled too many times of what it amounts to. So, but I find myself listening to the whole show, the whole shows anyway, and I just pause it and go do what I got to do. If I'm going to the house the next day, I'll get up and start it right back up where I was at, and that way I get to hear their shows too, because Lloyd does his, Lloyd and Mark Hoover. Oh my God, I almost forgot his name. See what I mean? But at any rate, I was listening to their show on Thursday night. Well, we do a show Thursday night too, so we don't get to kind of listen to one another's shows. Now they'll chime in on Saturday nights usually. You see Mark and Lloyd here unless they got to do something with the kids or whatever, and grandkids, what have you. But we try to listen to, or I try to listen to the other shows whenever I can, like Josh's show, Beyond Sight and Sound and stuff, just to catch up, and see what they're up to, and heck, I think we feed off of each other a lot of times because, I notice that even topics on other shows will kind of bounce a little bit to other ones. We're all like a big pool of information, and we're all pulling stuff from it. And they talked to the one show I listened to, with Relics Radio was the one that they had it was all metal mode. They had that one guy. Or maybe it was Loy. I can't remember. They were talking about the Spanish or the Egyptians being here in the U.S. or what proof there is, and the hieroglyphics and all that stuff. And it got into a discussion about Mayan Indians and being up here in the upper, 48 or lower 48, Vikings, that kind of thing. And it was kind of interesting. And I found myself just wanting to listen to it more and more. I was sitting there putting off my day just to listen to a podcast radio show, which, it's kind of neat. I know if I do it, most people do it. So. I know we have, Craig, one of our main guys here, Ohio Relic Hunter, Bill Marsh, he's been, since we've been on the air, Bill's been tuning in, I think. He's like a friendly face on here every time we do a show, or if you can't catch it, he always catches the archive. And Gavin's on here right now and stuff. I think a lot of people tonight are just out there checking out them fireworks, I think. So... But yeah, podcasting, Craig, it's fun. I like it. I don't know. I have fun with it. I know you do too, but I just don't know what path it's going to take. It's kind of getting, it's getting exciting again. You know what I mean? Because there's so many people.
They're still trying to figure it out. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I was reading that Apple was like in control of all the analytics for a long time. And
right.
A whole bunch of, the smaller podcasting people were, they wanted information, on how to kind of promote podcasting, stuff about revenue and all that other stuff that, they had with radio, they had it with TV,
right.
with all the other mediums. And they started pressuring Apple, and Apple said, basically their proprietary data, which they finally, they have, a lot of the huge percentage of the podcasts. And then from what I was researching the other day, there's a lot of major ones now. Most of the big tech people have, formed their own podcasts now, because, like Google has one, just like they have YouTube, and you got iHeart Radio. They did, like if you listen to FM radio, a lot of it's iHeart,
right.
playing off the station.
Right.
And Spotify, same thing. So all this stuff is streaming now. It's a whole different way of doing business, and they're finding that I guess the average person that listens to a lot of podcasts usually has 5 or 6 favorite podcasts they listen to, and 85% listen to the end of the podcast.
Right.
And but most people don't seem to mind the longer ads that come on there.
Yeah, I think ours are a minute long. I could make them 2 minutes long. I think I was like, no, I just want to put some on there and be realistic about it, and I don't mind a 1 minute commercial. They ain't nothing, compared to what we get nowadays anyways on everywhere else, even video games and stuff online. You get a 30 second to a minute long commercial every round or whatever.
The other thing is the other thing that's totally different from radio is you don't have to, you don't have to wait for it to come on. It's on whenever you want it to be on.
Yep.
Which is a whole different thing. I mean, the other thing is look how many it's going all over the world on the internet. With the FM radio and stuff, it was just going local pretty much. It wasn't going all over the whole country on maybe syndicated, but it's just not like podcasting is.
No.
It's on demand. You just whenever you want to listen to it. There's no schedule. So it was hard for a lot of these companies to figure out how to market this and everything else because they just didn't know how big it was and how anything. So now they're starting to figure this out, and the big it's starting to really. Well, the big thing is I think it's like kids from like 12 up to probably 30 years old are totally into podcasting. It's some of them listen like 3 hours a day, so that's a pretty good stretch of have you got that many ears on listening onto this medium now. That's huge.
Well, even trying to wrap your mind around having everybody in the world. I mean, we have listeners all around the world, really.
Well, yeah.
According to the analytics, and I'm like, how do you even? I can't even fathom that. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I like it. I just, I have people down in South America, UK, Germany, Sweden, Denmark. I mean, Australia, everything, and it's just really cool to.
Yeah,
we all tune in.
I found it on 3 major podcasting things in Europe. One was in UK, one was in the Netherlands, and one was in Czechoslovakia. So, I thought, this is pretty wild, and it looked like the one from Czechoslovakia, was big.
Yep.
They had a lot of stuff on there, but I couldn't read any of it.
But, that's kind of like my mother country. I'm a Slovak myself, so we're from our family from way back when is from Czechoslovakia, Slovakia, that all those countries moved borders during World War I, World War II, whatever, and so we don't know actually where we're from over there, but we know we're from over there. So it's kind of neat to see that on there, but. Yeah, it just you get all walks of life, and there's all kinds of different formats, man. There's so much. There's a show about everything now, and it's just. I think it's content, like you were saying before. We talk about stuff just off the cuff. We really don't. We don't plan anything out. Even the morning shows are kind of okay. Let's talk about ground balance today. That's what we tell each other. Or whatever, and. We go with it, it's just stuff we know and stuff that we've seen.
But you're always getting all strict trying to get, topics like this going, That's up our regular gig.
I know, that's what I'm trying to throw a curveball at us. Well, my daughter, Bethany, she was saying, well, wait until somebody calls in and hits you with a question or something like that. I said, well, I don't know. I just don't, I can only answer it if I know it. If I don't know that particular item or what they're talking about as far as a metal detector go, well, I'll find out. But between the both of us and the guys on the chat here, I mean, there's not much you can mention to us that they, if we don't know it, I know Bill Marsh does, because he's like a encyclopedia about stuff. He's kind of like me and Craig. He's all over looking at all this different information, documentaries and everything else. He retains a lot of it, and so it's nice. Nice we have our backup guys on here, or when Lloyd tunes in, or anybody, Gavin. We got a few new listeners or newer listeners on here tonight on chat right now. I see Nelson's on too. Nelson Sauter. I mess up last names, guys, so forgive me. I'll ask for apologies now before I do it. I'll beg for forgiveness rather than ask for permission, right? So,
yeah, there's another thing that's starting to happen for the podcast is people are collaborating, like in different genres. They'll get together with kind of like what happens on YouTube. Some of the YouTube guys get together and do YouTube videos together.
Yeah,
they got separate channels,
right,
stuff like that. That's kind of happening on podcasting a lot.
Yeah, we even got
it's
Lloyd
a great
on
format, for politics and interviewing people on, things like that. news, music. I don't know, just anything, people want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got Loy on here right now. He's out in the middle of a lake on a houseboat from Relics Radio. And then Finding America here, he's, let's see here, I'm on top of the mountain high and dry, whatever, on top of a mountain. So you never know. I'm down here in the swamp. Craig's around our great capital. Yeah, you're in the valley. That's right. You're in the valley.
Yeah, I'm not near the capital anymore. That's for sure.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. You're out of there. It's just kind of neat. We get to talk to each other or whatever. They're on chat, so I'm trying to read that, and of course, we got trying to keep up with that and talk at the same time. That's real hard for me to do, anyways. But I think we saw Barb's on here from oh my gosh, Dirt Pirate Detecting. Am I right, Craig? Her Facebook page.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, Barb, I was looking at your Facebook page. You saw me like some of the stuff on there. You actually have some really good posts on there from just different people posting in about their finds and stuff. I was really interested. I went down through a lot of them and read them the other night. And she does a really good job on that Facebook page too. And Bill Marsh had some stuff on there on his page, Ohio Relic Hunter Facebook page. You guys, it's just I know how time consuming it can be. It's fun, but it can be time consuming in trying to go through all that stuff and see the stuff, like it or not or whatever. Craig does a lot of it for our hardcore metal detecting Facebook page, and I was just surprised. Just how many people do post up or how many people respond. I don't know how that all works now because it's kind of changed a lot, Craig, in the past year and a half.
I kind of experiment on stuff I post, but it seems like some of these memes just are the ones that get the most looks and the most likes and laughs and stuff. And it's and you don't know, some of them I think are really funny and they don't get a whole lot of laughs, but then other ones will just take off, and then you see people sharing them.
Yeah, hey Craig, we got a listener on here. I think it's Loy.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Verizon commercial.
I am sitting in the middle of Dale Hollow Lake on a houseboat. I just wanted to see if I could call in. We just had a short show tonight.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is Thursday
night. Why you were called in.
Yeah. We had to put our show together early because I was on the lake, but we got it and got it all finished. And I told him I was going to jump over here and see if I could call in and talk to you guys. Don't get to talk to you much because we share a night with a show.
Yeah, I was just saying that earlier, Loy. I said I don't get to listen to your show on Thursday night, so I listened to it on the archive, the replay, and I put it on, and drive around town and do my running around and listen to it. And I always find myself listening to the very end because I want to hear what's going to happen next. So
yeah, well, I do the same with you guys. Sure do.
Well, it's kind of neat. You're out in the middle of a lake somewhere. Are you doing some fishing or just hanging out watching fireworks?
They're going to have fireworks here at, it'd be 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock our time, be about another hour and 15 minutes. And then we're going to fish after that.
Oh, that's a good deal. Nothing like good fishing.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you're out in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico on a houseboat. Now, I've done that before.
No, we didn't travel that far.
Yeah. So I see Mark's on here too. He said, "Can you hear me now?"
Yeah.
It's kind of comical. I was talking about that a couple shows back, Loy, that a lot of the guys, like, I just saw Josh Kimmel's system or whatever. He had a picture of it, and I'm sure you have a big system too. We talked before about that, and I said, I'm just going to keep mine simple because I never know where I'm going to go to. I might want to go on a trip or something and just throw the laptop up there and a microphone and go to it. So I decided I wasn't going to complicate it anymore for my small mind because Craig knows, I have a aneurysm over some of this stuff, trying to make sure it's working right.
Yeah, and you get a lot of money.
The worst thing he does is he it's working good, and then he tries to make it even better, and that's when it screws up.
Hey, fix it. Just fix it until it's broke. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said, leave it like it is. It's okay.
Well, you can get into it and spend as much money as you want to. Really.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've got a kind of a portable system that we take on the road with us, and we got another show coming up on the road in Chattanooga, July the 27th, at a relic show there with American Digger. And I've got a board and a couple of computers and all of my Macs and boom stands and everything. And it's quite a deal to get everything set up, but that's the way I know how to do it. And so I think that's what everybody does, just however you know to do it. And if you get the job done, that's all that matters anyway.
Yeah, I think we did that with me and Craig and Mark Hoover, actually, at the CWPPO, the one hunt that we all went to, and I think it was 2017, no, 16, I don't know. But we were downstairs in a hotel and got a conference room, and I just set the system that I have up, set it up right there, and me and Mark and Craig sat around on these chairs and just had a show right there. It was kind of nice. I don't have, I was able to make this thing work somehow, but we wouldn't even be able to hear you tonight if you hadn't helped me out with that Skype thing. I'll tell you, that about made me pull my hair out.
Well, that was 3 years ago before they got all these complications, into.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But I think we finally got Skype worked out, though. I wish we could go back to the old menu. I liked it a lot better than I do the new one, but we do have everything that we need, and everything works well. So that's all we need.
Are you calling from your cell phone, or are you kind of calling from one of your laptops? I didn't see the Skype number.
Both. I'm running my phone, my iPhone, on Bluetooth and hotspot, and I'm running my computer off of it, and then I've just got a small headset plugged in to that I'm talking on. I don't know what the audio quality sounds like. It
sounds pretty good, Loy. I mean, believe it or not, you can tell
it's very good.
Craig's actually a little bit more muffled. You're nice and clear, but he has a little muffled to him, which we're figuring that out too. I think I can fix that on my side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
my problem is I got an iPhone 10 and it doesn't have a headphone jack. So.
Oh yeah.
You have to get. You've got to get that little adapter, Craig, and I don't like that because you can't plug a headphone or microphone into that and a charger at the same time unless you get another adapter, and that's just Apple trying to make more money.
Oh yeah, it's all about the dollars.
And I don't know if it's I don't know if I should get I have the EarPods, but I'm wondering if I should get the AirPods if that's got a better microphone.
I don't know.
I don't either.
The only thing I can tell you, Craig, is to look that up on YouTube. Believe it or not, I go there a lot for reviews and stuff. At least you'll be able to hear. A lot of times they'll compare different sets or microphones and all that stuff, but they may have one for the AirPods or whatever those things are called, how they match up to a regular plug-in set.
Well, I sent 2 messages to the Apple community, and I haven't heard back. And I was told I need a better microphone for podcasting, and I got an iPhone 10, so I need a workaround so I can, and I was saying, are the AirPods better than the earbuds? But or the earbuds, and I haven't heard back, and this was like a week ago, so I don't know what's going on that. But they're probably just talking about other products or problems.
Mark Hoover's saying that the AirPods are amazing and he loves them. So if that helps, Mark knows his stuff about that. He said if you hear a glug, 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 that means that Lloyd dropped the phone in the water. Or he fell in the water, one. Hopefully he doesn't fall in the water. Save the laptop.
Well, I tell you what, about 1 o'clock today, Central Time, we had a monster storm come through, and we've got ropes that run from the houseboat to the shoreline, and it broke one side of those, and our whole boat got sideways, and we all just bailed out into the water and pushed it back and got everything tied back up. But that could have been disastrous if that storm had continued.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Yeah, this freak storms have been coming up. Well, we're down here in Florida. We get them all the time. But even Craig's been getting weird ones.
Yeah, we had one 5 minutes before the Fourth of July parade that goes right by my house, and it just opened up. And there was like, I was telling Derek, there was like drops of water the size of golf balls coming down. I thought it was hail at first, but it was just splatting, and then it went into just like, a sheet of rain for probably 45 minutes.
Nice.
So I thought they were good. I thought the parade was over, but all of a sudden I heard it cranking up down the street, and then the sun came out again. So they had it, but we've been having like these crazy storms coming through the valley up here, and just the other day we had a lightning storm that went on for like 3 hours, and didn't hear any thunder, just flashes all over the place. They were coming over the Allegheny Mountains, and it's just unbelievable.
I tell you what's been happening at our place, and our home is probably about 40 minutes from the lake, but every Thursday we have a thunderstorm, and that always worries you because you've got a show that night.
Oh yeah.
And last week, about an hour before showtime, I mean, man, there was a wall cloud coming in, and I just figured that we were doomed. So I ran and got the generator, and I was running cords out of the studio and everything, had everything hooked up and ready to go, but we didn't lose power. I don't know how. So.
Well, like Loy, I used to have that problem a lot when we were on 1,000 mics. If for whatever reason the power would flux or whatever, we'd lose our routers. So we've been pretty fortunate. We haven't had it happen lately at all, but I do have a fix for that. You don't even need a generator. Just get one of those jump boxes from I can say Walmart, I guess. They're like $109, but you can plug an AC adapter or a USB into it, and it'll run a computer for a long time. And that's what I do. I'll hook the router up to it, and I'll hook my laptop up to it to keep it charged up real good. I can run a show just like that. But it's just a matter of having it on hand and having to reconnect. That reconnection time is what I'd almost have to have it connected already before the storm hits.
That's what I told everybody. I said if we go off the air, it'll take me about 10 minutes to boot everything back up, And but we've only had somebody wanted to know what is all of that noise. That's the waves crashing in on the shoreline here.
We get into some weird situations.
Yeah, there's a lot of boat traffic, and we're parked out on the main lake, and so it's like the ocean right now with all the breakers coming in.
Yeah, when I was doing some videos and stuff, the guys would ask me, "What was that bird in the back, or that thing in the background? Was that a Bigfoot or something?" We have these sandhill cranes, and they make the most god awful noises when they're flying around and stuff. Like, they're really big birds. But they go, "What is that, a Yeti?" or whatever. Like, I got nature around me.
Good job. I'm going to get off and listen to y'all because there are a lot of boats coming, and I know it's probably noisy.
All right, brother.
I wanted to see if I could call in and just say, keep up the good work, guys. I listen to y'all. I've been listening to your morning shows, and then I go back and listen to the archives and try to listen to you live every Saturday night. Just keep up the good work. I enjoy your show.
I
appreciate it, Lloyd. Thank you.
Enjoy you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Talk to you later then.
Yeah, bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Lloyd's good people. Mark Hoover, all these guys. We're blessed with a lot of good people on chat right there. A lot of good listeners there. We may get a little static now, but that may be his just kind of cutting out here. We'll see what happens. But any rate, where else can you do that? In the middle of a lake or on top of a mountaintop or whatever. I think that's cool with the way we can link in these shows and get stuff done. I tried to do one. I think I did one at the DIV hunt several years ago, and then digging in Pennsylvania, we did a hunt, and it was pretty easy, Craig. It wasn't crazy complicated. It was pretty much getting that. I guess it's a Wi-Fi hotspot or whatever. That's what I was running, and plugged my computer into it, and you paid for the airtime. It was like $50, and I could do like 3 shows or 4 shows with it, and I had to reload it.
I know we did one at you know, at the CWPPO too. But did we do one at Horsham?
I'm pretty sure I did one at Horsham. If I got a signal, I did one. I know I was doing them on the road too. So, you know, it just whatever I can get a signal on that Wi-Fi hotspot. I got it through Straight Talk, or it was through Verizon one, but through Straight Talk, and I just put $50 on it, and it gave me like, I think it was 5 gigabytes or whatever of airtime or something like that, and I could surf the internet or watch a movie or whatever, or run the radio show on it. And they got a lot of the technology. I'm finding this stuff out too, that just because your computer, whatever kind of computer, you may not do some of this stuff as far as accepting some of the microphones and headphones and stuff like that. Sometimes there's a problem. Craig, you know, I've always heard of 3.5 millimeter jacks for the headphone jacks to plug into your iPhone or whatever. But it was just 3.5 millimeter. And then you got a 1/4 inch jack, which is like your stereo headphones or your metal detector headphones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just found out today, or 2 days ago, that on those 3.5 headphone jacks, some of them are, they call it a TR, which is two pole, or a TRRR or whatever, and that's a 3-pole. And they're different. They have those little lines on the little thing that pokes into the computer or whatever you're doing. If your computer is not set up, it's set up for a 3-pole and not a 2-pole, they won't work. And there was something about a Mac computer. It's used to 3-pole, 3.5 millimeter jacks. It sounds dumb or whatever. You may not know exactly what I'm talking about, but you know, look into it to see because they do sell adapters that you can plug your headphones into this other, like a extension, and then the other end of the extension is the proper size for your computer or your cell phone or whatever. You know, there is adapters you can get, and they're not that expensive. I think it was like $6.50. I'm waiting for it to come in right now so that I can use that Rode mic on here. It should link right up. But I was watching a couple of YouTube videos. I go to that a lot. And I'm not, you know, every time I have a problem with something, if I don't know something, like, you know, how to fix a lawnmower or chainsaw or whatever I'm after doing, I get on YouTube and I start surfing around a little bit. And there's usually somebody there that has done a video on how to fix your dryer or your refrigerator. I'm not going to sit there and pay somebody $200 just to walk in my door and tell me that I need a fuse or whatever. I want to find it out myself if I can do it to save that $200 because, well, I'm not made of money just like the rest of you aren't made of it. But I ended up fixing our dryer for 49 cents, Craig. Literally a 49-cent part. Yeah, it stopped working in it. You know, you don't realize how much you use your doggone dryer until you don't have one. It's like, do I really want to spend money on a brand new one? So.
Yeah, there was a part in our wash machine, and Mike and I actually fixed it, you know, about over a year ago. But it, you know, it wouldn't flush all the water out,
right?
You know, to go into the, you know, to the next cycle. And there was this part, and I think the part was maybe $1.69. It was this piece of plastic that would break to keep the thing from going off balance or something. So I actually got two of them, and it cost more to ship it than it did for the parts itself, you know. And we watched a YouTube video, and you know, it took us, I think, 20 minutes, you know, to put the part in.
Right.
But
I use it all the time.
If I'd called you know, somebody to fix it, you know, it would have cost me hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah, well, you know, the thing I like about it is, you know, I know some of them are paid to do this stuff, but I just like it that just a regular guy or gal throws something together and say, hey, you know what, somebody might want this information or need this information to make, you know, there goes one of those booms. They're blowing up our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Can you hear it? They're not. At any rate,
oh yeah, I can.
You know, if you need to fix, you know, you want your podcast to work better, there's a video for that. If you need the sound equipment, or you need something with metal detectors, you want to learn how to ground balance, or you want to learn how to change some kind of battery, internal battery, there's usually a video about it. So don't, you know, if you don't have a warranty on something, does it really matter? Because you're going to end up buying a new one anyways if you mess it up. So, I mean, if it's something you think you can do, And usually you can do this stuff with this basic equipment. A lot of the electronics, it's just pretty much on that dryer was just a multimeter, just see the conductivity. I can't say the word, but by golly, you know what I'm talking about now, Craig. You know, whether it's got connection or not. That's all it was, is this little fuse-looking thing. It was 49 cents or something. And I picked it up, you know, I was a little bit outside of town, but the guy had one and put it in there, boom, fired right up. And I'm like, okay, great. I don't have to drag this thing out of the house and buy another one. Now, your newer stuff, and that's why I stay away from a lot of the new stuff. Refrigerators and stuff, and oh my gosh, I mean, they got these circuit boards in there. And
chips and everything else.
Yeah, it's just, well, like our
you can hook them up, and you can hook everything to the internet now. And I go, no, I don't want to.
Well, that's one thing we didn't even talk about when we were talking about metal detectors. I know that I don't know about the Equinox. You can tell me in a minute. But I know the Quest, the Deus, you could plug in and get firmware updates for your metal detector to make it even better.
Oh, yeah.
That was one thing we didn't mention last show about that, I don't think.
The Equinox does that. And I think the
Deus does
the CTX might even do it. Yeah, the Deus does.
Just amazing that you can get a whole new program, like a brand new metal detector, really, just by getting a firmware update, because they've changed everything. Or whatever they have a problem with. Like I know on the Quest Pro, they said, well, the saltwater beach mode or whatever settings don't work real good. So Quest redid whatever the formulation was in the computer, and then you get a firmware update, and that way you can, fix that problem. Or they fix that problem in your metal detector. You didn't have to ship it off. You know, it makes it so much easier. And a lot of stuff like the drones. Our Spark drones that we had, Craig, or that we have, those get firmware updates. The controllers do this and that and the other thing. It's just pretty neat that we're able to. That's one of the conveniences, I guess, of getting new technology. But when you do have something go wrong with them on those circuit boards, you usually have to buy a whole new board for stuff, and that's or they make it so you can't fix it. And we're in a disposable society. And I'm used to fixing things. If something broke, the flapper on the refrigerator broke. The spring come off. Well, I opened the thing up, took it all apart, and it's fixed or whatever. Not soldered. It's plastic, so it's molded. A molded part that you can't take off. So what? I got to buy a whole $179 piece, the whole component to fit in there to make that work, and it really ticks me off. Chainsaws are the same way. I bought a steel chainsaw a while back because I wanted something quality that was going to last, and because I had a ton of trees to cut down. What I ended up taking it in there, Craig, and believe it or not, they put a doggone computer chip now inside the chainsaw. And what do you do if you're out in the middle of Alaska or something and you can't start your chainsaw? You're just screwed. I couldn't believe they actually put that in a type piece of equipment like that, but they're doing it to everything. Everything has automatic shutoffs. Everything has, sensors, which, sensors aren't bad. I don't know, when they don't work right, and then you don't know what the heck's going on with it. You got to take it to somebody most of the time. So, just like the new cars and stuff. I'm just bitching, I guess, but I think we're all, most of you guys on here do the same thing. You're trying to fix something and you can't.
Well, they're pushing this 5G, internet speed that's supposed to be, like maybe 6 or 10 times faster than what we got now.
Mm-hmm.
But they got to have it for these automated cars, and it has to be, cellular, coming over. They can't have, it's got to be, for cars on the road,
Right.
But there's a lot of controversy on whether this thing's going to cause your cells to burst or something, because supposedly people are claiming that it heats up all the water in your cells or something.
Great.
I don't know. But, yeah.
Oh, God.
So we'll have like 10 times more faster internet speed, but everybody be dying from it.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, this is getting crazy. I don't know if you guys are hearing this over the radio or not. I got a bunch of booms going on. They're blowing up the neighborhood.
We got, there's a park right like 2 blocks behind me, or maybe a block and a half behind me, and they're setting them off over here now.
Yeah. You need
But
to
I
bring
got,
out the
like,
dynamite and start blowing dynamite off. Jeez.
Last year there was a drone. I looked up. There was a drone like flying right above the fireworks.
Yeah, jeez. You know, I got an idea for a show, Craig, and I think I'm going to try this one. I got that guy out there at that land keeper, whatever, landlord or whatever of the properties, caretaker, whatever. And he's been telling me so much about this paranormal stuff that's going on with him. He doesn't believe it, but he's scaring the hell out of him. I thought about taking this thing out there and doing a pre-recorded show right out there with this system and see what the guy has to say or whatever. He has a ton of stories. I think it'd be pretty interesting anyways, what he has to say in the scenarios that he's been through already. And he's been staying out at that property in that house and redoing the house for the landowner for almost a year and a half now. And he's been getting kind of really freaked out. He's not really, well, he's a believer now. He never used to believe in any of that stuff. I think that'd make a pretty interesting show. Who knows what might happen. And we had Howard Hewitt on here, and things went crazy, 2 shows in a row, Craig, but we had all kinds of EVPs and everything else we couldn't explain. That was kind of neat. I think that show's on the archives, too, but yeah, that was one of the strangest shows, and it's never happened since or not really ever before. Howard told me, he said, well, weird things might happen. So a lot of you guys know Howard Hewitt. He was in Digfellas TV show and everything, and he's a poet, and he's up in Rhode Island up there. Real nice guy. I met him. What was it, Craig? About, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. I talked with him quite a bit at a hunt we were at and stuff. But real nice guy and everything. But he'll go right into somebody's barn. Can I go in your barn and look around? And he'll go in there looking for artifacts, antiques, whatever. He's really into that part of it too. I think just digging around in the dirt, or dirty stuff makes us happy. I don't know. But I think might do a show like that, Craig. I think it'd be kind of interesting. Anyways, see what the heck happens. I pick up everything else. Maybe I'll pick up something really neat with this microphone anyway. I hear the dogs.
Yeah, he's a pretty fascinating guy.
Oh yeah,
I remember telling him about some of my experiences with dreams and stuff, and so he was. He has stuff like that happen regularly with him. But I think he has a lot of Indian background in him too.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
he's a spiritual guy. He can be eccentric too, but I mean, it's a good kind of eccentric. Howard keeps you riveted, man. He'll tell you these stories and blow your mind. With stuff that's happened to him, and
it's almost like he came from the past, in a time machine or something. He's an old soul. He's an old soul. Yeah, and he's kind of a laid-back guy, but he's, when you start talking about, like what we were talking about, he gets really excited. He just loves that kind of stuff. And I remember he was talking about he had that. He used to take a tape recorder and he would turn it on when he was digging a hole, I think, and then when he pulled the thing out, then he would leave the tape recorder running for a minute and then turn it off and then listen to it when he got back home. And this one time he dug up a key, and when he got home, he heard this little girl say, "He found the key."
Yeah.
And and I think there was 3 graves, and she was on one of the graves, and from that house, and that was pretty amazing.
Well, I believe that was on the show we did.
There was another one.
That show that we did, he talked about that, and that's where one of the EVPs came through. When he was talking about that key fitting that, that was creepy when I heard it, because I didn't hear it during the show, neither did Craig, and I was listening to the replay because we had so many weird things going on, and it was clear as day, and it wasn't my voice, it wasn't Howard's or Craig's. And there was nobody else on the line. It was weird that came through the way. I think it said yes or yeah or something like that, right when Howard was talking about that key where it fit. about the watch too. It was just strange all the way around, and things were just going crazy. And then the next show, we did a replay show, or not a replay, but a show a week or so later, and it was a lot more calmer. But we still had some of those problems too. It wasn't as bad, but I don't think we ever got any EVPs.
The first show, we got knocked off. I was like
3 or 4 times.
Howard and I were talking to each other, but we couldn't hear you.
Right.
You know?
And I think that was on Spreaker. We never have those problems with Spreaker,
Right.
but we were having it that night, by golly. They were really messing with us. But if they want to join in on the conversation, I always say, talk all you want. But a lot of times you won't hear, like when we did that show, we didn't hear any of this stuff while the show was going on. It was on the replay that we heard it. It was at the time of us doing it live, we didn't, have any clue. We just thought it was computer problems. But it wasn't. It wasn't Skype. It wasn't Spreaker. It was just whatever it was. But I wonder if I get a lot of that. I'm going to try that just for the giggles of it all. I'll probably listen to it before I put it on air. But I have that ability to be able to do a pre-recorded show. I've never tried to do it, but Craig and I were talking about starting to do that once in a while. Sometimes Craig and I will get on these deep topics and stuff about detecting or relic hunting or whatever else, and I say, man, we should have recorded. That was really good stuff, we just I got a lot of information. Maybe everybody else will like that too, So
Yeah.
Oh God. But anyways, guys, we're probably going to wrap it up for the night. We're about 9:15, and we are going to do a show tomorrow morning at Craig, about 7:00. Is that good or?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, coffee with
That's
Derek
better.
and Craig.
That's better than 6. It's better than 6:30.
Yeah, I talked to Craig and said, well, you want to do a show at 6:15? He's like, no, I don't even wake up that early anymore. So I'm like, all right, brother, I didn't want to do one
Well,
either.
actually, I'm forced up by my cat about that time. So.
No, okay. But yeah, we'll be on tomorrow morning. Just a half an hour show. I don't really know what the topic's going to be yet. Craig, maybe you come up with one or whatever, and we could talk about it tomorrow morning. We're good like that. We'll talk right off the cuff. So if you guys want to call in, that's fine. But yeah, it's usually a half hour show. We're going to try to do them at least Monday and Friday, but I like to get one in on Wednesday too. But sometimes it just ain't going to happen because I got other stuff I got to get done in the morning. So, life happens. So at any rate, all right, brother. Well, we're going to sign off the show. Make sure you check it out every Thursday, Saturday night for Hardcore Metal Detecting, and then Coffee with Derek and Craig on Mondays and Fridays at least. We're going to try to do them. And the other shows too, like Relics Radio. We were just talking to Lloyd tonight. They're on every Thursday night, and I'm not sure if they have a second night or not. But they could be on any time. Usually you get updates. If you follow these shows on Spreaker, you hit the follow button, you'll get updates. Like if we hit live on air, you're going to get an email or whatever, a blast saying we're live on air. So it'll help you if you have a chance to listen to the show at that time, you can. Or at least you'll know to download the archive show. So it's a little bit helpful. So like and follow the shows and check out the other ones on there. There's a lot of different topics and show topics being done out there. So check them out on Spreaker.com or Spotify or whatever format you guys are using to listen to the show tonight. Other than that, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Get out there, keep digging, and God bless.